Hello there. In this video, I'm going to talk about what you need to understand in order to understand Agile Scrum very well. I'll try to talk as briefly as possible in this video, and I will be talking in details of each one of these items in my following video. So basically, this is a high-level overview. So what is the Agile? Agile is one of the software development lifecycle methodologies, SDLC, which is what it stands for, SDLC. SDLC is basically the standardization or standard process that you want your application to be developed and basically drive the entire project. The project comprises with business as the stakeholders. You have a product owner, you have a business analyst, you have a product developer, the one who develops the product, you have a testers, you have a lead, you have a QA lead, you have a dev lead, all of these teams basically. So when you have any methodologies, so there's a waterfall methodologies per se. Waterfall methodologies has its own standard process where the application goes through more kind of documentation, that you create all of the documents, make more formal development, more formal documents that you have to prepare. Basically you spend 1 to 2 years in order to develop one solid product. And what happens is with this global age, what happens is you have a requirement that you want to develop something, and then all of a sudden after 5 months or so, you are halfway down the development, and all of a sudden you get something called the requirement changed. So you want to shrink or change whatever you're actually trying to do. So that basically interrupts your development process. So in order to overcome with that, Agile came into picture where you have the requirement not as big as waterfall, but they are the tiny little pieces that you are going to develop and you are going to deliver within 2 weeks. Okay, so let's talk about that more in detail in this video. So Agile Scrum, when you work in Agile, you will hear these terminologies like every day. Okay, let's talk summarize about each one of these items. So in Agile Scrum is the work cycle is considered to be 2 weeks. So 1 week to 2 weeks based on your size of the project or size of that deliverables. So 1 to 2 weeks, that cycle where you start and you finish everything. Finish means you start the project, design, basically you get development started, you tested and successfully passed and finished everything. That is considered to be one complete cycle. So that one cycle is considered to be is called as a sprint. Sprint will be 1 to 2 weeks. You have another something called product owner. Let's go about the team. Okay, so product owner is somebody who brings you some requirement. Okay, this is the product owner who visits the customer's sites, or somebody who brings the idea about what are the features that that this person is looking forward to deliver to the customer. Okay, so this person is considered to be product owner. This person knows very detail about the application you have and also have a clear vision of what customer wants to be delivered. So this is the person who defines that type of role. Product owner has a very close relation with the business analyst. Business analyst and product owner basically product owner talks to business analyst, and business analyst is the one that interprets what is to be developed. So product owner is going to throw you lots of requirement, like lots of the ideas or lots of the requirement that are to be delivered for the customer, and business analyst is going to make them tiny little pieces and make that smallest as possible, and will write all of these requirements into the user stories. Okay, user stories is something that is considered to be some requirement. Each of this requirement is going to be defined in some sprint planning tool like Jira or ALM or any of this. Okay, so what is a product backlog? So business analyst is the one that writes all of this requirement into tiny little pieces. So product owner is giving you one big chunk of the requirement. Business analyst is going to break those chunk into all small things. Each one of these are the user stories. These user stories are the ones that are to be delivered. So product backlog is something that you are keeping that as a bucket. All of these requirements are kept inside the bucket where you define each and everything. Okay, each of this, out of this bucket, then they will have the something called prioritization. Sprint prioritization is something that will prioritize which one of these item is going to be delivered into that sprint cycle. So they're going to pick up how many items are going to be delivered, and then they're going to take it out from there. Okay, so the ones that are coming out of this box, those are called a sprint backlog. So those are meant to be the backlog for the sprint, which means these need to be finished in this one sprint. Okay, so what is the next? Next we have the Scrum team. Scrum team is a group of the people that will help in delivering this product. The Scrum team comprises of business analyst, product owner. It may include the product owner. It will basically have a developers, a list of the developers, dev lead, front-end developer, back-end developers, QA automation testers, QA manual testers. It will have a business analyst, including Scrum Master. Who is the Scrum Master? Scrum Master is somebody who drives, who helps driving that project. Scrum Master is somebody who will help removing your impediments. If any of the team is having some blocker, Scrum Master is the one who will help removing those blockers and help everybody be able to smoothly work onto the project and get the deliverables. So these are basically the team members and basically the backlog terminologies that you will need to know about the Scrum. Let's talk about the grooming and all of these things. Basically these are the meetings that you would have to really be fluent with in order to know Agile process. Okay, so the meetings are, first of all, is a grooming. What is grooming? Grooming is when you have a list of these stories. Okay, a list of these stories, there are so many things that you have that business analyst defines as each individual user stories. This user story will have the requirements, which is called which has all of the acceptance criteria and what the requirement this product owner is looking for. Okay, this product owner. So each of these requirement is going to be defined with a more detail about that requirement. So there will be more requirement, just like the way you would work with the waterfall methodologies, like the requirement analysis. Those type of discussions happens into the grooming. So based on your project and a role, the grooming may go for 2 to 3 hours long in one sprint. In this sprint, in this grooming meeting, you would be each of this team member will be discussing on how what are the different acceptance criteria they have, and they're going to ask about lots of questions. And after this meeting, each of the team members will understand what each of these requirement includes. Okay, they will need to really understand what are the requirements they are going to work on each of these user stories. What is this? Next one is sprint kickoff. After you have this groomed stories, you are going to have a prioritized stories that is going to be upcoming next sprint. Okay, once you define and once you have that idea from this team who prioritize the user stories, then these are defined to be a part of the sprint. So this sprint is considered to be the upcoming sprint, where this sprint kickoff meeting is going to officially start that sprint. Who does this? The product owner will be there, and you're gonna have all of the leads and business analyst and all, basically entire Scrum team, including all cross-functional team, is going to be there. So they are going to officially start this kickoff meeting. So kickoff is going to start the sprint. Then you will need to deliver the product in that 2 weeks. What is sprint planning? Sprint planning is basically detail level tasking, and you are going to now go into details about how you are going to deliver. So the developers are going to define their tasking, sprint tasks. Based on those tasks, you are going to talk about the capacity planning, and based on the capacity planning, you are going to define what are the user stories you are actually going to deliver. Okay, what is daily stand-up? Once you are done with the planning, and following day up until the sprint ends, this sprint ends, which goes up to the 2 weeks, each day everybody goes into that stand-up meeting. This stand-up meeting will be long as 10 to 15 minutes. Each individual team member inside this Scrum team is going to talk about what they did yesterday, what they are going to do today. They're going to basically give the status of that 24 hours. In this meeting, if there are any blockers that they are going to bring it up to this Scrum Master. Scrum Master is going to help removing those blockers, which are also known to be as impediments. So this daily stand-up won't be longer than 15 minutes. After after your sprint ends, this daily stand-up officially ends. So what is the retrospective? Retrospective is the meeting that is considered to be as soon as your sprint ends, this sprint, as soon as your sprint ends, then that retrospective is the meeting where each of this team member, Scrum team member, will be part of that retrospective meeting, where they bring up what went well, what did not went well into that sprint. Basically, that retrospective meeting is kind of lesson learning. You are going to expose yourself, saying this is what you learned, this is what you thought you would have done better, and basically this is kind of analysis of that entire 2 weeks worth of a sprint. Okay, so basically these are the overview of Agile Scrum development process. So these are the things that you really need to know by heart in order to really understand what the Agile does. Agile means shortest thing possible that you are going to deliver. What is deliverables? Deliverables are something that you have to deliver, you will be delivering. What is accountable? Accountable is something that you are going to be accountable for. In Agile, delivering things is very crucial and very critical. If you are not going to deliver something that you planned for, those are considered to be really serious. Okay, so I hope this kind of briefly high-level overview of the Agile has been helpful for you, understanding all different methodologies, all different terminologies of Agile Scrum. Again, Agile Scrum is 2 weeks sprint development process, whereas Waterfall is year-round development process. Requirements are very flexible in Agile. You may change the requirements at any time, and you are literally going to be flexible of meeting those requirements. Product owner may come at you at any time saying that you don't want that, and you are going to be ready in order to feed these requirements. Releases are usually 1 to 2 months in the Agile Scrum. Agile Scrum, they are going to either release 2 sprint worth of work or 4 sprint worth of work. 4 sprint worth of work are considered to be 2 months release. After the in the Agile, the testing happens parallelly with the development. Each of these user stories, soon as those are delivered, the testing immediately starts. If you have anything that you have to plan before doing testing activities like a data preparations or something, you are going to do those. Okay, if you have any testing scope that you have to define, you are going to do those before the developed product is being developed. As soon as the product is delivered for you into the QA server, you are going to immediately start testing and report any defects if there are. Okay, entire testing thing needs to be finished within this same sprint, otherwise it is not considered to be developed or delivered. Okay, let's summarize this. Agile Scrum is one of the most popular development methodologies that you can see anywhere around. This is one of the most important interview questions that you will be asked if you are going to any of the IT role. This is useful for product owner to know. This is useful for business analyst to know. This is useful for any Scrum team member to know, regardless of what role you are going to be working into any IT companies. Okay, in my further videos, I'm going to talk each one of this item in detail, and hope I can explain you more there. And thank you very much for watching this video, and please do not forget to like, subscribe, and watch my further videos. And please feel free to add comments, and I will try to respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching this video.